What is the benefit of taking a PG seat with bond, and what is the benefit of taking a PG seat without a post-graduation bond? Today we are going to talk about whether you should opt for a postgraduate seat at the end of which you will have to serve a bond, or you should opt for a postgraduate seat at the end of which you will not have to serve a bond. And how important is this bond? Should it feature prominently in your decision making when you are deciding which college you want to pursue your post-graduation in? Now, as I have stated in the previous video, the most important thing you need to consider when you are deciding which college, which seat to take, the most important factor is the subject. If you have decided the subject you want to pursue post-graduation in, you should not compromise with the subject. You should not choose a different subject just because the bond situation is more favorable in that subject for that seat. If you want to do, let's say, pediatrics, and you are getting it in a college where there is a very scary bond situation in the post-graduation world, then don't compromise and take a different subject, even if you think that is quite similar to pediatrics, because you might regret it. I don't think there is any factor, including bond, which should dissuade you from taking the subject of your choice. Having said that, if you are getting the subject of your choice in multiple places, then the nature of the bond that you have to serve after your post-graduation can play an important role in helping you decide which seat to take. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the post-graduation bond. The purpose of the post-graduation bond is to help satisfy the unmet need of healthcare in various parts of the country. Now, some states have an institutional bond where you have to serve the population of that state by working in the same hospital where you did your post-graduation from. And there are other states where you have to work in different hospitals, sometimes even in rural areas where facilities for living are limited. You may not have big multiplexes or malls or other recreational facilities in those areas, and you might have to work in a hospital in that area for about 3 years. That is definitely something which can happen to you, and you have to understand whether you'll understand whether you're able to withstand that kind of life or not. In most bond situations, there is the option of paying a sum of money which can absolve you of the need to serve the bond period. In West Bengal, it is 30 lakh rupees if you don't want to serve even a single day of the 3 years. If you have served 1 out of those 3 years, then the bond penalty sum reduces to 20 lakhs. If you've served 2 of the 3 years, then to not serve the last 1 year, you have to pay 10 lakh rupees. I did not pay a single paisa. I served all 3 years of my bond, and so I have some knowledge on this topic. Now let's talk about the benefits of the bond. The benefit of the bond is quite simple. At the end of post-graduation, unless you are doing post-graduation in radiodiagnosis or anesthesiology, chances are at the end of your post-graduation, you will find it difficult to get your first job. In the 2 subjects I mentioned, radiodiagnosis and anesthesiology, jobs are plentiful and it is easy to get a job just after post-graduation. At least that's what the ground reality was till very recently. If it's different, do let me know in the comment section. If you are doing your post-graduation in any other subject, chances are after your post-graduation, you'll find it difficult to find your first job. That's where having a secured income avenue named bond service can come to your rescue. You can join it, you can work in it, you will get the immediate employment that was previously difficult to find immediately after post-graduation. You get valuable work experience, and while you are working in the bond service tenure, you can look for other jobs, and then if an opportunity opens up for you, whether it is academic in nature, whether it is further specialization like DM or MCH, or you get a fellowship opportunity, or you get a better job, you can always quit the bond service, pay the penalty, and move on to greener pastures. So the great thing about bond is that it provides a guaranteed employment opportunity immediately after post-graduation, which is not something that people should take for granted, because as I said, if you have not done post-graduation in radiodiagnosis or anesthesiology, you'll find it quite difficult to find your first job immediately after completing post-graduation. It's not like you won't find a job, but it will take some looking. What is the downside of bond? The obvious downside is that it might be a job that you don't want to do, in a location you don't want to be a part of. Most of us who have studied in big cities, we don't want to leave the big city because the opportunities of growth, the opportunities of learning new skills are more in big cities. That's just the way the country is. If I have to go and work in a village, which I did, I am quite aware of the fact that I will not be learning anything new, and there is a very real possibility that I might be forgetting whatever I did learn during post-graduation. So that's the obvious downside of bond service. So what should you do? I think what you should do is look at the bond period, look at whether it is a rural service bond where you will be posted in a rural hospital, or is it an institutional bond. If it is an institutional bond, it really is a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise because you get guaranteed employment for at least one more year in a very good college where you'll be doing your post-graduation. So you already have built up rapport in that college. You already know the way things work, and you are going to do an extra year or a couple of years of training, which is necessary after post-graduation. Let's face it, 3 years is not enough to become an expert in any subject. I don't know why post-graduation is of 3 years in India, but I don't think 3 years is enough to be an expert in any subject. I don't really want to single out any one subject, but 3 years is not enough. So bond service does help in that way. If you want to become a teacher in a medical college, then as per the National Medical Commission criteria, you need to do at least 1 year of senior residency from a recognized medical college. If you get to do senior residency from an institution which is recognized by the NMC, then that criteria gets fulfilled by the bond itself. However, some institutions do not recognize bond service as senior residency, so that is definitely something which you should look into. So let's recap. The good thing about bond is that you get guaranteed employment opportunities which otherwise would have been difficult for you to find immediately after post-graduation. And the downside of bond service is that you might have to serve in a village hospital where you might forget the skills that you spent so much time learning during post-graduation. So think about it wisely. If you're getting bond service in your own institution, then that is definitely a good thing. But if you're getting it in a different place, in a less developed part of the country where facilities are rare and you might end up forgetting your skills that you learned with great difficulty during post-graduation, then I believe if you have the financial resources, try to get out of it. But for those who think that it is a choice that is up to you, whether to do bond or not, you're not taking into account the financial reality of many people in our country. It's not easy for many people to pay off the bond sum. 30 lakh rupees is not something which everybody can easily pay off. And the argument that you are studying in a college where the tuition fees is already subsidized because it's not as high as the fees in private medical colleges, it really is something which I believe is a false choice. I don't think that the only reason why people study in government medical colleges is because they can't afford the high prices of private medical colleges. But it is also true that many people are there who, even if they wanted to study in private medical colleges, would not be able to do so because the fees in private medical colleges is quite prohibitive. So it's basically a false choice. You study in a government medical college because you cannot afford or can't even think about studying in a private medical college, and then you have the burden of the bond, which you do serve because you have to hear things from wise people in this country that you have studied in a subsidized system, you should give back to society. So that's the reality of post-graduation bond. There are states in India like Haryana, and I don't know if the rule has changed, but Delhi does not have a post-graduation bond last time I checked, and Haryana did not have a post-graduation bond the last time I checked. You should do the research carefully. There will be many online resources which will tell you which state has a post-graduation bond and which does not, and decide wisely, because every year of your career does matter.